All right, folks. I don't know if you know Al from Boston, but he's a fellow ape covering AMC analysis and market analysis in his YouTube channel, Al from Boston. So, in one of his latest videos, he was explaining the reasons why he's still backing AMC real price. Like when AMC reaches full potential and in midst of the short squeeze, he's calling on a floor, like the minimum price. People should start thinking about selling around $85,000. And why AMC is still an asset that can be worth $1 million worth. Yeah, you heard that right. Not 100,000, folks, $1 million. And some of the reasons that he mentioned are not, that stretched, because he's calling on the amount of synthetics, excuse me, the amount of fake shares, the amount of, the shares that the short sellers had to fabricate in order to maintain the price of AMC at these current levels. And on top of that, the amount of people that are still holding and buying the stock, if you look on Fidelity, you will see that the stock on AMC has the huge buy to sell ratio in favor of the buys. Still part of those huge stocks that are, those stocks that are hugely, more bought than sold. And the reason why the price is not moving as in the direction it should move based on the fundamentals, and by the fundamentals I mean the law of supply and demand, people buying and people selling, is just simply because of the pressure coming from those fake shares. And those fake shares, he believes, are so flooding the draw pools to the extent that it wouldn't be a surprise if those are counted around 20 billion in numbers. So if you count 20 billion shares in numbers that are supposedly to be covered, even the moon is too small. Even the moon is too small in terms of the price of the short squeeze at the top. All right. Now, where I'm actually not in disagreement, all right, because anything can happen here with the stock market. That is totally, 2022 and 2020 and the year in between definitely told us that, you should never say never. But my main concern or my main remark or observation with this will be, okay, we have to look at the technicals, and the technicals are telling us, technically on paper, AMC can go to these levels, unimaginable highs, like prices that we have never ever even begin to think it will reach those levels. All right, that is the technical, that is one side of the coin. But a coin has two sides, has two faces, and I want to also look at the other face. I want to look at the other reality, which is the psychology of investing, the psychology of trading, the psychology of money, and the tricks it plays in our mind. Because whether you want to believe it or not, trading or dealing with money, especially with investing in the stock market, has 90% to do with up here and only 10% with the math behind it. Because personal finance, which I include investing into it or trading into it, has a lot to do with our personality, has a lot to do with who we are in terms of our, tolerance to risk and greed. In simple language, what I'm saying is, it won't be as easy as we think to hold to certain levels. Why? Because bunch of us, even though we are kind of numb to the price action now, even though we're kind of numb to and kind of educated and mature to the level of corruption in the street, in Wall Street and in the stock market, I don't think even 5% of us are prepared to handle some amount of money which will suddenly be available into a brokerage account. Let's just imagine for a second, AMC reaches $10,000. Do you really think if you have $1,000, I mean 1,000 shares, do you really think from the moment it reaches 250, that is $250,000 worth of a position, right? By the time it reaches 2,500, we're talking about $2.5 million worth of a position. If you have never had 2.5 million in just one single position, I bet you will freak out. You will freak out. Maybe you think no, but you will freak out. All right. Now, if you have never handled $10,000, if your position, maybe you have, I don't know, 100 shares or 50 shares, and then we hit to a certain level, and then you now have a $10,000 or even $100,000 worth of a position. You've never handled that amount of money. What makes you think you will continue to hold for $1 million when the amount of money you're seeing right now in your account can definitely change your entire generational wealth? What makes you think you will have the mental strength to wait for that number? That's the big question. And the other question is, we need to be prepared for some other shenanigans as big as what they pulled when AMC reaches, when GameStop started running back in January by removing the buy button. And I've said this many times, either they might be in a position to remove the sell button, or they might prevent us from withdrawing our money like, we've seen now in some of the crypto platforms amid of the crash. So just to say, let's be careful, all right? Let's be careful about what our exit strategy looks like. We definitely need to work on that, because even though AMC will run, the big question is how to maximize your gains so that these 2 years of holding will not be totally lost. That's the big thing, folks.